Hey friend, welcome to Healthy with Heather Brown. If you don't know where to start with balancing being healthy and loving the life you already have, I got you, friend. And yes, of course, we're still going to enjoy some Chick-fil-A. I'm here to come alongside you and encourage you to fall more in love with your creator, your spouse, your kids, and your own health journey. We'll talk about how to let your good things grow until they become daily habits, with the occasional dad joke and point of view from my Yankee hubby, Eric. Don't stress. Let's hop on this Hot Mess Express together. So join me, Heather Brown, as we unpack what it looks like to live a life well loved. Yay! We are back. Welcome back to season 2 of the Healthy with Heather Brown podcast. You guys, how was your Christmas? How was everything? New Year's? I cannot believe that we're starting season 2. I am so excited to take your feedback that you have given me into season 2 and to make this season even better than season 1. I loved hearing what some of your favorite episodes were in season 1. I love seeing which ones you downloaded the most. There is just no way that I could even fathom that this is where the podcast would be now. And, we wrapped season 1 with our physical health, and now we are going more towards mental health this season, which I'm very excited to unpack and unearth with you guys. So please, please, please keep your feedback coming. I would love for you to leave some ratings, some reviews, and let me know what you're hoping to see this season, any proposed guests. That really does help us out so much. And man, I'm just excited to get into the topic of today, which is, of course, goals and goal setting. Let's take a deep breath first. Okay, everybody, deep cleansing inhale and deep cleansing exhale. Whoo. Let's let all that stress and tension go. The holidays are over. We had that kind of like dead slump week in between Christmas and New Year's, and now we get to move into a fresh season. Y'all, I will say that I'm very excited because some of the things that I have to offer you this season that I'm really hoping that you will put in your arsenal and help you get off into a strong 2023 are, number one, I've got a daily schedule freebie to help you figure out what your ideal day looks like and how it would run. And I'm hoping that that really helps you take a strong step forward into what you want to create this year to look like for yourself. I, of course, encourage you to lay that out with an open hand and ask the Lord how he sees your schedule, how he sees he can utilize you in just the bigger picture, guys. I know so often we get stuck in self-centeredness and just making it all about me, and what I can do. And we just want to be reminded as believers that the Lord does have a greater purpose for our lives outside of ourselves. And we really want to make sure that we are not only just doing our very best every day to work is to please the Lord and not just men, as the Bible says, but also to make sure that we are loving our families well, prioritizing the things that really matter to us, naming our why, and letting those things inform our goals going forward. So I'm going to talk with you about some of the tools and resources that I use and love when I'm setting my goals for the year. And then I also am going to link up lots of freebies in the show notes today about ways to help you set off on the right foot with your meal planning, with your water intake, with your healthy goals, and all the things coming up. So make sure that you do get that daily schedule freebie that I will link up for you down below in the show notes, and also our goal worksheet. We do have a really, really great goal worksheet that is how I think about my goals now. I am obsessed with this method of goal planning, and so I'm going to deep dive into some of it with you, but I would be remiss to not give you, I guess, the background of how I got to setting my goals. And that revolves a lot around my power sheets. If you guys are not familiar, I will link this and some of my favorite planners in to the show notes, but it is the Cultivate What Matters Power Sheets Goal Planner. And also, of course, I love my Erin Condren planners, but I'm not just married to only having a physical calendar at this point in my life. I used to be. Now I do realize that it is important to have digital planners and calendars at times, especially when you have other people involved in your schedule that need to know where you are and why and have event reminders and all the things. But we'll talk about that as we get into this episode. So, deep exhale. We are here, goal time. Let's just go ahead and make sure we're throwing out that resolutions language. I really don't feel like making a New Year's resolution is, I guess, effective way to make sure that you are really making the most of your days and your time this year. So we really want to talk more about goals. Let's talk about ways to save our sanity and create attainable goals that can grow with us. The first thing that I learned from a blogging conference actually many, many years ago was creating SMART goals, which is an acronym. And let's say that instead of saying at some point in 2023, I want to lose, 15 pounds. Well, that doesn't really give you much to go off of. So we really want to take the principle of SMART goals and the acrostic that it stands for. S is for specific. So you need to get specific with your goals, and you want to say, okay, well, if my goal is to get rid of 15 pounds, then what does that look like? And what is my target date for that? How am I going to achieve that? What do I do to make that happen in a realistic and attainable way? So then the next step is M for measurable. You want your goals to be measurable. So that 15 is a specific number, but maybe we want to see, I want to do that within 3 months. So by X date, which means that I would be aiming to lose 5 pounds a month for the first 3 months of 2023. The next acrostic letter is A for achievable. You don't want to set your goals so far out there that there's no way that given your current life stage or phase that you cannot hit it. You want to be very realistic with your goals. Is R for realistic, and T is timely. And I talk so often about how Eric's dad talks with us about anything that we're thinking about in life. It all comes down to time, manner, place. And I feel like this SMART acronym really goes and points towards that with goal setting for the year. So let's make sure that you get the free worksheet that helps you break down those big goals like we're talking about into smaller steps to get them to the finish line. I'll link it in the show notes. Like I said, it's completely free to download. And then you can make sure that you are also, as part of that worksheet, communicating with your people to make sure everyone's on the same page. And you can use your teamwork. So Eric and I are hoping to next week on the Marriage Corner talk a little bit more about how we hold each other accountable for our goals and how that plays out as part of the Marriage Corner. So if you have any questions you want us to tackle specifically, please submit them down in our ratings and reviews so we can read those and add them in to what we talk about. And then I would say, what are some ways that I just practically speaking chase after my goals and know that I'm creating space in my calendar to do them? It is by meal planning, which y'all know I preach meal planning up and down. Doesn't matter what day of the week you do it. Doesn't matter how you do it. Doesn't matter if you want it monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, if you meal prep or you don't meal prep. Just meal planning and having a plan. You got to plan. If you do not have a plan, you are planning to fail. So the phrase I always say about meal planning and a lot of things in life, honestly, is if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So I have taken that motto with me for many years now after learning it from Jane Delaney and my prior meal planning company that I worked at, and it is so true. Of course, I would say exercise really helps me out. I schedule in my workouts each week. As we've talked about many, many times, I figure out what roadblocks I'm going to have during the week that don't allow me to get to that normal class time that I attend. And do I need to talk with Eric about his availability where I could go that evening? And if that doesn't work out, do I need to plan for noon so that I'm putting it in my calendar so I'm aware the night before? And actually, this is a great little hack that I would highly encourage you guys to take advantage of. Pretty much every Sunday, I sit down and look at the week ahead, looking for those loopholes or issues that could arise that would cause me to stumble in my meal plan or my workouts. But then I also, the night before, one of the last things I do before I go to bed at night is, we get the kids to bed and then Eric and I will watch TV or, we might have a glass of wine or whatever the case may be. Sometimes we record an episode of the Marriage Corner, but I will typically during that time get out my phone and make note of what all is happening tomorrow. Do I need to lay out different clothes than I thought? Do I need to pack my gym bag differently? What does the day tomorrow look like? Has it shifted? Do I need to alert Eric to any changes? Those are just really practical ways that help me chase my goals and make sure that they are always in sight. And then I talked about resources that I typically use with the Erin Condren Life Planner, the Laura Casey Cultivate Goal Setting Workbook. And then seriously, you guys, if Eric and I did not have a shared calendar, I don't know what I would do. At this point, I think that I have 3 or 4 shared calendars, and they work really well for us because that way when Eric is at work and all of a sudden they spring on him that they need his schedule for the next month, he can easily look in the calendar without having to call me. And or what if he doesn't catch me? He can see when we have beach trips coming up. He can see when Layton's fall break is, so he knows when to, make those schedule requests. And then I also have a shared calendar with our babysitter. She is also one of my very best friends. If you know me or if you're on my Instagram much, you've probably seen her around. Her name is Lindsay. And Lindsay helps me out a lot by picking up the boys from school on my work days and then allowing me a little bit of extra time to get work done after Finn's preschool lets out. And she is just an invaluable resource and friend and support system in my job and honestly in my life. Eric and I talk about how one of the best things going for us that allows us to live the lifestyle that we do and that I still get to spend great time with my kids and kind of finding what that work-life balance looks like is Lindsay. And so we're so very grateful for her. So shout out, Lindsay. We love you. And then, so Lindsay and I share calendars, Eric and I share calendars, and then My Life Well Loved and Healthy with Heather Brown teams share calendars. So that way I know if I can't get a hold of my COO, it's because she's on a brand call or doing a discovery call. And then that way everybody on the team knows, oh, well, if Heather is recording, a podcast at this time slot, I'm not going to hear back from her until much later in the day, so on and so forth. And, just to let your brain not have to overthink everything all the time. We try to put like my Zoom links for meetings with brands and stuff in the notes so that it's right there for me to easily access on my phone, no matter where I am. I feel like I get by day to day right now. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the practical tips that I have taken. Shout out to Laura Casey. I'll definitely link her planner and her website in my show notes, but I really, really like how she has you not just write down your goals without thinking kind of flippantly. She really makes it a process. It is why she calls her items worksheets, because she does make you think about, okay, and like zoom way out. She does big picture where you think like, what are your goal ideas? What do you want to cultivate in the year ahead? What do you think about first when you think about the upcoming year? What do you hope it will look like? How do you want to achieve those dreams? And then you just journal and write out ideas and thoughts. And then you can really see some inspiration that just pops out top of mind. Some examples of that might be, I wrote down last year, a light, joy, uplifting, positivity, encouragement, clearly stated, awesome with Allison. These are, some of them are bloggers or podcasters that I find inspiration from. Faith, date nights, take care of my body, be more present, get some rest, start, you fill in the blank. And then that way you're not just feeling like, oh yeah, I made this resolution and we'll see if it sticks. It's like, no. Really, what do you want out of this year? And what, I guess, hindrances maybe would be coming up from that you want to protect yourself from? And I think that so often as adults, we forget to check in and make sure that we know what we still love to do. If you ask a child what they love to do, they are going to spout off a long, long list of all the things they love to do, love to watch, what they want to get interactive with. And we sometimes just, in the busyness of life and of adulting, we forget how to have fun. What really brings you joy? Write those things down, because you want to definitely put your energy and time and resources into those things to lighten up the heaviness of, heavy days sometimes. It's not like life is going to be perfect on this side of heaven, but we can write down and realize what brings us joy and make sure that we are pouring time and resources into those. So I would encourage you, to write down your ideas for the year and then write down what fires you up. What do you really enjoy? What activities do you like to do? Do you like to go hiking? Do you enjoy doing sensory activities with your babies? Do you love going to the coffee shop? Like, what are your things that you love to do? Do you want to prioritize more time with family? How are you going to make that happen? One of the most impressive things to me about this journal was she really made you check in with how you are truly doing. Not just, how are you? Good. How are you? So really checking in and saying, no, actually, how am I in every aspect of my life? So she has it broken down into different sections of this book where it says your health, you have to rate it 1 through 10, and then just write down a few notes about what made you choose that number. And then she has a section of friends, spouse, or significant other, family. And then it just goes on, broken down into different categories like your spiritual health, your work, your recreation, your finances, so on and so forth. And I think that really truly reflecting on where you are at 1 through 10, having to give it a number really does help you realize where you might have a lot of work to do and where you're realizing like, oh, this does bring me more joy than I thought. How can I work that into this year a little better? And then also just being reflective about what you loved about the last year. What were your successes? Where are your growth opportunities? And thinking of them not as failures, whatever you didn't like, but realizing no, this is a way for me to actually grow. Now, when I think about challenges that I had last year and things that I didn't love or things that I did love, I do typically then try to come up with a word for the year. And some years I've done it, some years I've not. But if that's your thing, I would love to hear your word of the year. So make sure you screenshot this episode and write out your word of the year and tag me in it. And I will be thinking on mine and let y'all know if I come up with one. But I would highly encourage you to zoom way out, think about the big picture instead of just starting out really honed in on those goals. Because if you're taking into account all the things and the facets in your life and what you're liking and not liking and what's resonating with you, what is lighting you up from the inside out and really pouring into those, I think that your goals are going to serve you so much better. So I would ask you, if you could envision your most purposeful year yet, what would it look like? What would you have time for? Where would you spend most of your time? Where would most of your resources go? Did you not tithe as much as you wanted to last year? How would your days feel? What would you do in the pickup line? If you hate the pickup line, what's something that you could do there that would make you look forward to it? Is there a podcast you want to listen to? A book on tape? There's just so many things that we can then self-assess and say, maybe that last year wasn't my best yes. What am I going to say no to this year to allow for more of my best yeses to creep in? And if you're not familiar with the Best Yes book, it is by Lisa Turkhurst. And I can also link that on Amazon for you guys in the show notes as well. And I think that my biggest takeaway from just everything that happens around goals is that you have to dream big. You can't just quit dreaming when you are an adult. And I think that we so often just think that we're not worthy of goals. We are not worthy of the time and the investment of resources that goes into them. But that's not true. It's 100% not true. And if you are feeling stuck and you don't know what to do, I would highly encourage you to simplify your goals and think about ways that you can up level them. I know that me and Alyssa, who's my COO, we sat down last year and we actually recorded a course for you guys. For those of you that are looking to get into blogging or into affiliate marketing or into any online business. And we sat down and we chatted for about 2.5 hours and created a workbook to go with it to help you figure out what it looks like to balance your business and your life. And we talked a lot about how we have hired, who we have hired to help us, and how I am really realizing in my goals as I'm getting older, my kids are getting older, time is so fleeting. And I do not want to spend all my waking minutes and hours and days glued to my phone. Unfortunately, the internet doesn't shut down. And so I am always going to have more to do than what I, with 2 hands and 24 hours in a day, can handle. I just really encourage you, if you are really dreaming up big business goals or blogging goals or whatever the case may be, to get this course in your hands. I will link it in the show notes as well. It is truly a deep dive into what makes us as a business make sure that we're saying our best yes, making sure that we have a team around us, surrounding us, uplifting us, that is allowing us to do more of what we love and less of what we hate. So that then when I do have to turn on my work hat, it's not menial tasks that I hate billing and numbers. So I don't need to be doing that because somebody else can do it. My job as a blogger and entrepreneur is to show my face or my voice in this case. And so I really love that marketing and connecting one-on-one with you guys. And so it's exciting to me that when I log into work, a lot of times that work is actually fun for me. Of course, every job is still a job. It is still work. It is still part of the curse, unfortunately. And not every single facet of it is going to be amazing. But it is exciting that you can make sure that you are saying your best yes when you build a team around you to help you in your entrepreneur journey. So I will link that course in the show notes. I hope that you guys take advantage of it. And I am just beyond grateful for my team. If you're on my team and you're listening to this, I could not do what I do without you. I could not serve as many women. I could not live out my passion to empower women to live a healthier lifestyle in every single facet of their life. And that is just such a mission that is near and dear to my heart. I hate it that women lose themselves in motherhood and in wiping booties and in, just all the things, like you're cleaning out the bottles, you're overwhelmed, you're not sleeping well, and you just forget how to have your own goals and have your own fun and to, really soak up the small moments in life and find that contentment. So I am just so, so grateful that my team allows me to speak that life and mission into women every single week. It truly is my joy and honor. And I'm so grateful that you guys are here and in it with me. Okay, I feel like I've really got to wrap this up quickly because I am talking too long. Imagine that. So let's talk about ways that you can hopefully figure out these goals. So taking it to that next action step, I would encourage you to write your goal down. Like, let's say that you can't create any more than, 7 to 8 goals for the year. Maybe you want to make one for each area of your life that you feel like is important. Let's also write down your why. Why do you want to achieve that goal? That's going to help you on the days when you don't want to show up to do it or it feels hard or overwhelming. You're going to have your why to come back to. And then let's write down, what is your next step? Maybe you write down 5, 6 mini goals for each of your goals that allows you to see progress. And maybe, step 1 is Google how to do XYZ or start walking 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be that you go run a marathon your first day back in the gym. So let's just make sure that we're really simplifying our goals to make them wins for us and that they build our confidence in who we are and who we're serving and what our purpose is as we do it. Don't be afraid to take those tiny little steps that I walk you through in the free printable with the goal worksheet down below. Alyssa and I always joke in our course that, and in our business, we're just kicking that football 1 more yard down the field every single day until we take those tiny little bite-sized chunks out of these huge, massive goals. And again, setting realistic expectations of when they can be live by. Okay, so once you hit those goals, please don't forget to reward yourself. Again, you are worth it. You deserve to celebrate those wins. And that looks different for every single person. So maybe you even write down when you're writing out your 8 to 10 goals, what are you going to do to celebrate when you hit that goal? And hold yourself to that. Let your spouse know that. Let your friend or neighbor know that so that they can hold you accountable and celebrate with you. Okay, last thing is, since mental health is going to be such a huge part of season 2, and I truly cannot wait for all the amazing guests that we have planned. Like, they are awesome. You guys are going to be so excited about them. What are some ways we can save our sanity and help ourselves get back on track when we get discouraged or lose our motivation? Number 1, take stock and evaluate. Is something not working anymore? Are you just doing this because you've always done it this way, but it's truly not serving you or your spouse anymore or you and your child anymore? Like, let's figure out a way to rework that system. Is it time to change the routine? Try something new. So that's the first thing. Second thing is journaling. I would highly encourage you guys to journal through your thoughts, journal through what you think your goals should be. Like I said, write out your why. Journaling is such a powerful tool to help you see what's going on inside that maybe we don't take time to stop and be still. We all know that verse, but sometimes we don't live it out. I'm raising my hand. I specifically struggle with that. So make sure to sometimes just sit down. Maybe that's one of your goals. My goal is to sit down once a week on this day at this time, set an alarm and a reminder on your phone to journal how I'm feeling this week. How am I coming on my goals? What does that look like? Did I fail? Okay. How do I pick myself back up again and start over the next day? Sometimes we just so getting stuck in the mindset of, well, I failed at it yesterday, so I'm just off the rails the rest of the weekend. No, you just start back tomorrow. It's fine. Deep breaths. You got this. Last thing I would say is maybe add a new music playlist or devotional to refill your cup. I know I will link my Christian playlist in the show notes. When I'm having a bad day, that Christian playlist picks up my attitude many a time. I mean, the Lord is so gracious that He has given us music as a way to lift up our spirits and our mood. I'm actually really excited to talk about that really in depth on one of our future episodes. You guys are going to freak over that one. It's going to be so good. But all that to say, thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you for coming back to listen to the first episode of season 2. I can't believe I just did it. I'm like, whoa, okay, it's time to wrap season 2, episode 1. Okay, here we are. So thank y'all so much for being here and listening, supporting me. It truly means the world. Please make sure that you subscribe, you rate, you review. There's no way I could say thank you enough. Check out those show notes. Click see more. You can see every single week I upload my life wellloved.com with the latest show notes. And if you remember an episode guest or show notes you want to see from the past, you can always use the search bar to pull those up to get links or whatever you need. And then, of course, I'm always just a DM or an email away. You can find me on Instagram at Healthy with Heather Brown. I will chat with you guys next Tuesday. Can't wait. Let's get real for a second here. If there's one thing the last 2 years have taught me, it's how important a close accountability circle is. In 2020, some of my small group and gym friends started our own little village to keep each other going, work out together, and pray for each other. I treasure the encouragement and accountability that comes from that. You asked, I listened, and in September 2022, I launched a one-of-a-kind live coaching and daily accountability program for the first time ever. They say it takes 3 weeks to form habits, so for 21 days, you'll be able to join an exclusive, intimate Facebook group. I'll be there every day offering personal coaching, daily check-ins, personal advice, and more. We'll focus on drinking more water, eating better, and getting our steps in as we start the new year strong with our fitness and our healthy habits. It sounds simple, and that's because it is. Sometimes all you need is a little accountability and motivation, and that's the goal of this group. No toxic New Year's resolutions here. We're all about making and reaching healthy goals. I'll also share the tips and lessons that motivate me, teach you how to keep a food diary, and crack the code on macros. All the things. Don't worry if you feel overwhelmed. We'll be doing this together. All that matters is that you just show up. You'll also receive one of my ebooks, Meal Planning for the Busy Mom, a complete guide, for free, might I add. Don't wait to grab your spot. My next round starts January 9th, and that's when signups close. If you're listening to this later than that, check my social media for the next start date. The link will be in the show notes of this episode, and feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Healthy with Heather Brown with any questions. I can't wait to be a part of your health journey and to develop deeper relationships with each of you. Oh, hey there. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to take a screenshot of your podcast app on your phone, post it to your Instagram stories, and tag me at Healthy with Heather Brown to let me know your favorite takeaway from this episode.